Really excited about the game this week with Temple, and I know Steve Adazio, and Steve and I go way back at University of Florida, and he's an outstanding coach. I know he has his team prepared to play. It's going to be a very physical game. You look at Temple offensively come at you with a lot of different formations and a lot of different personnel groupings. Do a really good job of running the ball. Hasn't done a very good job of throwing the football, but with the back they have with Montel Harris transferring in there from Boston College, do a really good job of just handing him the ball. He run behind his pads and able to find the open creases and just run through defenses. We know this. We have to continue to improve with our fundamentals and our skills and techniques. And we know that we still have a long ways to go as a football team. And what's really great is just sitting there undefeated and knowing that you can still really improve. And that's the message to our football team each and every day. Still a one-week season, and Temple is our next game. Can't worry about what's out there. We know we still have 4 left to go play, but it's really critical for us to improve and get better.
What are some other things you'd like to see the team improve on over the next 4 weeks?
I'd like to see us put together a 60-minute game. We haven't been able to do that. You know, we play in spurts, and you watch us offensively, we're able to take the ball in most of our games that we played and go score with the opening drive, and then defensively end up giving up a score where you'd like to see us put together a complete game, offense, defense, and then a kicking game.
Charlie, can you update us on Lorenzo Malden?
Lorenzo has a spring knee, and he is not surgical at all, so he'll be out a few weeks. But we just our trainers are going to do a good job of just trying to get him back on the field.
Any relief there that it's not surgical? I mean, it looked pretty bad at the time.
Well, it's always a relief when you don't have to have surgery on a knee, and then you can hoping you get a young man back.
You jumped from 16 to 10 in the BCS rankings. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I guess a lot of people had a chance to watch that game, and they saw a football team that's resilient, a football team that come from behind and just play hard. And it's good. Our players, I tell them all the time that, anything that happens with this football program is because of what you've done, and when you let the outside look at how hard you're playing, and just what you're bringing to this university is really great. So, but the thing we can't do is just get caught up in the rankings and get caught up with where we're at, because we still have 4 games to go play. So if we allow that to happen and we go stub our toe, then there's no telling where you will drop.
You talked about the knack this team has of winning. It just seems like if you leave the statistics aside for a second, because in a lot of categories they're not really how they win. They have this sort of nebulous sense of knowing how to win.
And it goes back to just confidence and this the team. They believe in one another. And you look at our offense. When you have a quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater, and you have the receivers like Andrell, Devontae, you look at Copeland, we have players that can make plays, and then on defense just go out and just get a stop and get the ball back for our offense. And we know that, and our guys on defense feel that. They know just get the ball back in the offensive hand, then we have a chance to go win the football game. I think about Copeland. I think about the plays our receivers are making. You look at the Kentucky game, Copeland makes a big catch coming out of, we were backed up, makes a big catch coming off the goal line. And then you look at the last game against South Florida, he makes a big catch. And then you look at this game, he goes down and makes a big catch. And then you throw the ball out there to Devontae. And I always tell our receivers, say, I've yet to see a guy take a slant or take a hitch and go score with. And, it reminded me of that yesterday with Devontae taking the distance. But it's this team there's the confidence and what they believe in one another and just how they feel about one another. Now they are coming together as a team. So when you have that within a football team, then the will to win, you just feel like, hey, we can't be beat right now if we just get an opportunity to go score.
How good does that feel as a head coach, knowing that you have a team made up of that, Charlie?
Well, it feels really good because, at no point in a game that you just feel like if you just keep it close, just keep the game close and just close enough till the end where we have an opportunity where we can get the ball back. We had the ball, I think, with 50 seconds to go. We throw the corner route out to Radcliffe, and then they bring a corner blitz. And if the receiver sees a corner blitz, Teddy's ready. He's locked on to throw the ball out to the wide receiver, but the receiver just ran a different route. If he catches that ball, we're going to be in field goal range and probably would have never gotten to overtime. But it just feels really good as a head coach that that you have that much confidence, and the players have confidence in one another.
Charlie, on the kickoff coverage, is it a matter of maybe Wallace not hitting the ball deep enough, or is it guys not staying disciplined in their running lanes? What has led to some of the bigger returns?
On the kickoff coverage, it's about keeping the ball inside and in front of you. It doesn't matter where the ball is kicked. It's all about just defeating the blocker and where the ball is. You know, you always want to cross in the opposite direction that someone's trying to block you. We haven't done a good job with that. You know, a guy see someone coming to block him and he'll stay inside of it and try to beat the block. You can't beat the block. You got to go attack the blocker and shed the block and get across his face. And that's what we're not doing a good job right now.
The week before Appleby, I think, kicked off last week, Wallace, are you looking for somebody to get it deeper, or was that just something to try Appleby in there for a couple times?
No, it's just all about just consistency and who can get the ball down and get enough hang time on it. But we have enough. You look at the guys who are running down, they're skill guys, and so they are able to get down the field and make the hit and make the encounter blockers and go make a tackle.
I think on one of the last kickoffs you guys had, Pryor and McGriff Culver were in, and they weren't in on earlier kickoffs. I believe it was both of them. Is there any thought about kind of just shaking up personnel-wise, the guys out there?
No, those guys were. I mean, Pryor and McGriff Culver starts on the kickoff. So those guys, because if you look at it, it's DBs and linebackers and a couple of receivers. So it's not so much personnel. It's all about just guys getting off blocks. So it doesn't matter whoever runs down there, the ball's kicked. You know, you got to go defeat a blocker.
In 100 years of football, this program's ever been 90, roughly 100. Do the guys get the sense of, on the one hand, how this run's been, but also because there's a lack of history here, you're still sort of earning respect as you go?
You are, and that's the thing about it. You have to earn respect as you go along, and you just look at what has happened within the program, and I you know how kids are. They just live in the now. They don't ever look back in the past and look at what history can do for them, because the only thing they're thinking about, hey, right now, let's go get this next game. And what's really good about this team is we don't even talk about the record. They don't even say, hey, we're 8-0, whatever. It's all about the next opponent.
In that vein, last year you were 2-4, put together a run for, co-Big East title. This year, it's all on you. Has your message changed to the players when you're in this position? You don't need help from anybody else. It's all on you.
Well, it is, but it's been on us from the start. And I told them that when you were picked to win this conference, and the target was on your back right from the beginning. So now it's all about us each week going to go play, and now you're in the conference schedule. So each game counts. So we can't stub our toe. We can't slip at all. We have to play good each week because it's a conference opponent.
In the 3 years you've been here, Charlie, it seems like your teams have a knack towards the last half of the season getting better every week. Is that something you really push, and what are some of the reasons why you think that happens?
A lot of it is attributed to our strength staff and what they do, and what you try to, and you're right, you get to the last part of the season now, it's all about your strength and conditioning, and all about just being physical and guys being able to maintain their strength as you continue these games. And we still lift, we still have our guys lifting, which is really good, because now that you get into these last 4 games, that's what it's going to come down to, just the conditioning of your football team.
The fact that you guys want to continue to get better and kind of focus on yourselves, is that maybe the message this week? Because Temple, their last couple of games out, they've really been struggling. Is that how you get your guys from maybe not overlooking these guys?
Well, what I always tell the other guys is this is a very competitive league, so you can't take anyone light. So, we go in there against Temple, and we're not prepared to go play, and they end up beating you. I told them yesterday, I said, just look at what happened to Rutgers. Kent State came into Rutgers and beat them. And I said, so you don't ever take a team light, and it's all about you preparing yourself and executing the game plan. Our coach is going to put together a game plan. Just execute the game plan. We know we can still improve. We know we can get better. So it's all about you as an individual, you as a position group, us as a football team to improve.
Can you imagine being in Adazio's shoes right now with what they're dealing with the storm right there in Philadelphia and having to prepare for a game?
No, well, I think that's, he's a good enough football coach where he was at University of Florida, so you had those hurricanes coming through there during football season. So I think he'll know how to prepare for them.
Nate,
Go ahead.
Nate Norwood update, and then I guess using Butler and Harrington, was that something that was kind of because Norwood was out, or will that you see more?
Yeah, what happened was we went to practice on today's Monday, so last week was Monday. We practiced, and it was like a Tuesday, and Nate was just running routes, and he pulled a ham, so we had to get some players to that position, because the tight end position is very critical in our offense. So we took BJ, we took Jalen and let those guys go get some reps at tight end, which was good because we needed help our offense. But Nate is getting better now and he's coming along. But those two guys, they can continue to work there. If we need one back on defense, we can always move them.
Who were your champions this week?
Our champions this week on offense, it was Devontae Parker. I think he had 4 catches for 125 yards. On defense, it was Preston Brown, hit the ball 18 times, had a pass breakup, had an interception. And then our special teams player of the week was John Wallace.
Temple runs, is running more than they pass. Is that sort of his philosophy, or is that just kind of their personnel, if that's what they have to do? What?
No, that is his philosophy, and that's always been his philosophy. And even when he's at Florida, he loved to run that football. But very physical team because it's all about toughness, and he likes to see, like I said, you see a lot of different formations. You're gonna see a lot of different personnel groupings, but they're gonna run the power, which is downhill football, just running right at you. Your quarterback is good enough where they can run a quarterback this read play, which we've seen the last 2 weeks where he'll take off. He's not the runner that we've seen the last 2 weeks, but he's good enough to read the end and either get a ball or keep it.
I think Jermaine Brooks seemed to have a couple big plays late in Cincinnati game. How's he playing recently?
Jermaine played well in the last game, and he's gotten some reps, so he's coming along and he's developing and doing a really good job.
Charlie, what's it going to take on third downs? It seems like a lot of those situations were kind of manageable 3rd and 5 or less that Cincinnati had, but still they were able to sustain drives.
Well, they were 5 of 15, I think, weren't they, on third down? Yeah, they were 5 of 15, so they converted some. But you know what? It's better than it's been in the last few weeks. So it's about guys just making plays and getting off the field on third down.
Charlie, Teddy's always kind of said he's going to go to the open guy, and that's been the thing with the offense. But with Devontae showing what he did this past week, being able to take that one the distance, do you guys have to find ways just to get him the football no matter what because of his skill level?
Well, but you look at Devontae, but you look at Copeland, you look at Andrell. I mean, all those guys are playing well. When Norton was in there, he could find him. It's all about the first progression, the second progression. But, the thing Devontae did, he made a catch, he cut across the grain, and he scored. But look at Copeland coming off the goal line, grabbing that catch that he made. So it's all about guys. We have enough playmakers where just get the ball in their hands. And you don't really have to take one guy and say, hey, that's our star guy, because we have enough guys around Teddy. Even at the running back position, you go to Norris, you look at Jeremy Wright, they can catch the ball, you throw the check down to Jeremy Wright, he can make a guy miss. So it's all about making guys miss, and when they get the ball in their hands, doing something with it.
How hard does that make it for the defense, especially on third down? You guys have been doing well on third down offensively. How hard does that make it because you don't know where he's going to go?
You don't, and it's all about the matchup problems on third down, because if you can line up Devontae outside, and you can line up Copeland outside, you can put Andrell in the slot, put Eli Radcliffe in the slot, then you create a mismatch problem, because at some point a linebacker has to cover down. So if they're going to leave in their defensive backs and not play man coverage, then a linebacker's got to cover one of those inside slots. So when you get a linebacker on the inside slot, like the touchdown that we threw to Eli last week against South Florida, it was a linebacker trying to cover him down the pipe. So it's all about the mismatches. It's all about finding them. And that's what Waddy's done a really good job with.
You're one of 6 teams still left unbeaten, and the names of those other programs are some of the most historic names in all of college football. With the increased scrutiny that's going to continue to come at that level, who are the people in your locker room that are keeping your focus on the rest of the season, and what does it mean for this program to be mentioned among those teams?
Well, what we have now within our locker room, I have a committee, a leadership committee, and I just don't know, I think I probably have anywhere from 15 to 16 guys on that committee. So I meet and I talk to them, and so the message they get from me, they deliver it to the locker room. But you talk about teams that are undefeated, and I tell our guys, just continue to play. And if we continue to play hard and we play the way we're capable of playing, then good things will happen. But if we don't prepare well, then we can go out there and things won't happen for us. We may not be able to come back.
That leadership committee, can you tell how often do you meet with them, and when you give that message to them, how are you seeing that they're portraying your message to the rest of the team?
Well, I give that message to them on Monday. I will meet with them today, and I will meet with them on Thursday. So when I meet with them on Monday, just tell them how the way I want to see practice go this week, and how we have to be prepared, and what we're thinking about, and the team we have to face. And I even give them the schedule on, if I say, hey, Friday night we may go to the movies. Hey, I want you guys to know we're going to do this on Friday night, or what uniform y'all want to wear. We wore all white the past week. So, I mean, what do you guys want to see as far as uniform? But I leave it. I'm trying to put it back on the team because it's their football team. So I'm trying to give them a lot of credibility where they say, hey, this is what we like to see happen, coaches. So we like to see done.
And that's your traditional setup, the way it's been in years past, or?
No, this is the first year that we've really put that together, where I'm leaving a lot of it on them.
Are all of those guys that the team has elected to be on the committee, or guys that you've chosen?
No, I chose those guys. I was going to leave that up to the team. Let me say that. A lot of those guys on the team would have thought they should be on that committee. No, I chose that committee. But it was about, what I chose was, I took guys in the program that I felt like that had put enough into it where they knew that it would be up on them to have the ownership within the program. So those are the guys, like a Cupper, Stein, Mario, just some of the names I'm throwing out. Teddy Bridgewater, Jeremy Wright, Preston Brown. I just can't remember all the names, but I think it's anywhere from 15 to 18 names. But it's there, and I told them, I said, it's all about you guys taking ownership within the program now. Because whatever happens in the locker room, a lot of times we don't know what's going on in the locker room. We don't hear the conversations going on. But if something isn't right, you can get it right. And it just take this group of guys, and if you don't like something, you just tell me. I'll bring the guy in here, we'll talk about it, and I'll stay in here with you guys. If y'all don't like it, and we'll just tell the guy, hey, this isn't acceptable on this football team right now. We're trying to go play right now. We just can't accept this.
What made you decide to do it this year?
Well, I did start off with it, but then, I just started thinking about, it's our third year into the program now, and now let's give it back to the team. It's their team now. And I felt like that we had matured enough where I could give it to the team and let them go make decisions instead of the coaching staff always making them.
Is that something Urban did, or Coach Holtz, or where did you?
Well, Coach Holtz, we always had us a committee like that, but when I was at Notre Dame with him, at South Carolina, we did it at University of Florida, but here I've never, the first 2 years I didn't do it because we were just trying to just get a foundation and get something built, because I just didn't know who was really bought into the program at the time, and you was really trying to, for a coaching staff, you're trying to find out really who is this guy, and is the really guy really is what he say he is. So now, 3 years into it, I said, this is our football team now, guys. So now this is our football team. So since it's our team now, let's give them the ownership, put it back on them, and let the team go handle it.
You said you didn't start off with it. When did you do it in season, or are you saying maybe in the spring you weren't?
No, I didn't do it in the spring, but when we came out of camp for 2 days is when I put it together. So before the first game, we had our first meeting. So what I do is I meet with them on Mondays at 5 o'clock, and then Thursdays before we have the position meetings, I meet with them.
Will they discipline themselves, or do they present stuff to you like this guy was out of line? What do you do?
Well, they haven't reached that far yet of saying, hey, you need to go talk to this guy. But when we're in here talking, I say, hey, what do you guys think? What do you like to see happen? What do you want to do this week as far as? But now tell them with practice, I said, really, you can give me my suggestion all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make that final decision. But I said, we're not going to cut it down just yet. But how those guys are. But it's just as far as practice, as far as, uniform for on Saturdays, that, do we want to go to a movie on Friday night, or just how we just handle just day-to-day operations within this program and within this building.
Do you think that committee will also help this? You talk about staying focused on these last 4 games and not thinking about rankings and everything else. Will that committee, is this kind of designed so that guys will kind of fall in line, everybody stay in step?
Well, if you hear the message and they take the message back, and it's really good because they repeat whatever a coach says, and you hear it a lot. Like you get out in practice and you call all up, and one of them will stand up and talk, and he'll repeat the message that was said by one of his coaches. So you can see the message is being repeated, and it's been taken back to the locker room. So they understand how important it is and how critical it is this last 4-game stretch. They realize that, and it's all conference games. So anytime you get involved in a conference, they understand that.
You've coached in the SEC. There's 5 SEC teams ranked in the top 9 in the BCS, and do you agree with that, or
Well, I think that what happens, there's so much tradition with those schools, and everyone thinks that that is the elite conference, and just by, they get so much exposure, so a lot of people get a chance to watch them play, and they see them every week, and if you look at the teams that are ranked, where they're all ranked and how highly they're ranked. So it's, it's just so hard to say whether they deserve it or not, but I think that they think that their level of competition is a little different than everyone else's.
is it?
Well, I say to them, I'll go play in them, so it doesn't matter to me. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant, I'm not saying that to be cocky, but I think that, if you have a good football team, you feel like you can go play with some of these teams.
Anything else?
Okay, thanks.